David Smith here with another flipped classroom lesson. Today's topic is expansion again. We're going to do a slightly more complicated type of problem. Fortunately, as long as you follow the steps, it's not so bad. We're going to call this further expansion. This is kind of like jumbo distributive property, and I'll show you what I mean. What if I have A plus B in parentheses times C plus D plus E? Okay, so this started to look like a FOIL, like a product law, but I added another term. Okay, so this is like jumbo distributive property. What we're going to do is we're going to multiply the A times each of these terms and the B times each of these terms. So let's do that. So A times C gives me AC, A times D gives me AD, and A times E gives me AE. Now I multiply my B times the three terms. So B times C plus BD plus BE. Okay? Now in this case, we're done. We can't combine any like terms because there aren't any. We didn't have any numbers or variables. We just have all of these little expressions. So, but that gives you the general process. Let's do it with some numbers. For example, x plus 3 times x squared plus 2x plus 4. Okay? So I'm just going to do the same thing I did here with this one. So x times x squared gives me x to the third. Then I do x times 2x, so that gives me plus 2x squared. Then I do x times 4, so that's 4x. Now I'm going to do my 3 times all three of those. So 3 times x squared is just 3x squared. 3 times 2x is just 6x. And 3 times 4 is just 12. Now since we put in numbers and variables, there's going to be some like terms. Notice how I only have one x cubed, so I'm just going to bring that down. There's no combinations I can do there. But guess what? I have an x squared here and an x squared there. So I can combine them. I have 2 of them plus 3 of them, so that's going to give me 5x squared. Then I have also 2 plain x terms. I have 4x and 6x. Combining those gives me 10x. And then finally I just have one number with no variables, so I just bring that down. Bam, there we are. Okay? Let me give you one to try. This one will be x minus 2 times x squared plus 4x plus 4. Okay? So pause the video and give that one a shot. Okay, let's see how you did. First terms, x times x squared, that just gives me x to the third. X times 4x gives me 4x squared. And x times 4 gives me 4x. Now I'm going to kind of run out of room here. I'm going to write a little bit smaller. Hopefully it's legible for you. Now I have a minus 2. I've got to remember that minus. So minus 2 times x squared is minus 2x squared. Minus 2 times 4x is minus 8x. And minus 2 times 4 is minus 8. Okay? Now I can combine my like terms. As before, I only have one x cubed. X cubed. Now I have 2x squared terms. I got a positive 4, but because of that negative, this one's negative. So now I'm going to subtract the 2x squared. So that leaves me with only 2x squareds. And the same thing's going to happen here. I have positive 4x, but a negative 8x. So that's going to result in me having minus 4x and then minus 8. Okay? I want to point out something. Notice how we have 2 terms times 3 terms. 2 terms times 3 terms. Notice how when we get done with this first step, we have 2 times 3 terms. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Where am I? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's one way you can check if you miss something. When you do that first step before you combine, if you have 2 times 3 up here, you should have 6 terms down there. Let me give you one more. This one's a little different. Okay? Just a little bit different. And I'm going to let you try that without explaining it, and then I'll explain it. So this is a little bit of a jump. I'm asking a little bit more. See how you can do. Okay, let's see how you can do. So there's a couple of ways to go. What I'm going to do is use distributive property here first, and then take another step, and then combine the whole thing. So x times x gives me x squared. X times 1 gives me plus 1. So that's the result of this. I'm sorry, it gives me plus x, right? X times 1 is x. So when I multiply these two out, I get x squared plus x. It's still multiplied by this other one, so let me bring that down. So now I have a FOIL problem, right? It resolved down. So x squared times x gives me x to the third. X squared times 3 gives me a plus 3x squared. X times x gives me a plus x squared, and then x times 3 gives me a plus 3x. So that's the step that comes from FOILing. And now I have some combining to do. I only have 1x cubed, but now I can combine my 3x squared with one more x squared for 4x squared plus 3x. Okay? Okay, let's try one that's even a little bit more challenging. So this looks sort of like a FOIL, but I've got a third term out here. So I'll give you a hint before I turn you loose. It's kind of like this problem. We picked a part of it, simplified that down, brought the other part down that we hadn't touched yet, and then we simplified those down, combined like terms. This one's going to fall to a similar kind of a process. So pause the video, see how you do. Okay. Let's see how we do. So what I'm going to do is FOIL these two, find out what that is, bring this down, and then multiply those out. I think we're going to get quite a few steps here. So FOILing this, I get x squared minus 3x plus x minus 3. Bring down my x plus 2. So I did that a little faster with a little less explaining, but you should start to be getting familiar with FOILing. If this gave you trouble, play the video back, see if you can see where I got all 4 of these terms. Okay, so now I'm going to combine my like terms. These two are the same, so I can simplify this a little bit more. X squared minus 3x plus x gives me a minus 2x minus 3 times x plus 2. Now this problem is like the first problem that we did. We just have this on this side rather than that side. But we can do it the same way. It's going to be this times all 3 of those, and this times all 3 of those. So let's do that. X times x squared is x to the third. X times negative 2x is minus 2x squared. And then x times minus 3 is minus 3x. And then 2 times x squared is plus 2x squared. 2 times minus 2x is minus 4x. And 2 times minus 3 is minus 6. Now we can check again like we did before. I have 2 terms times 3 terms. So this step should have 6 terms in it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There you go. So now let's combine our like terms. Only 1x cubed. Now I've got 2x squareds. But this is kind of interesting. Do you see? I've got a minus 2x squared and a positive 2x squared. They're going to cancel out. There's no x squared. So we're done with those. Now I have a minus 3x and a minus 4x. That gets me minus 7x. And then finally, last but not least, my number, it just comes on down. And bam, there we go. So I hope this video was helpful. If you need to replay certain parts of that, please do. Make sure you understand the examples, and thank you very much for your attention.